The world of global trade has been a whirlwind over the past few years, with President Trump's America First strategy dominating the headlines. We've seen tariffs, negotiations, and some pretty bold claims. But what's really happening behind the scenes, and is this strategy actually working? We're going to break down the latest, focusing on a recent interview with NEC Director Kevin Hassett, who shed some light on the administration's perspective. We'll look at the negotiations with China, the deals with Japan and Europe, and analyze the bigger picture.
Well, I was given quite a bit of briefing about the ongoing negotiations, and the president is going to get the final briefing from Jamieson Greer and Secretary Hassett tomorrow, at which point he's going to see the details of what was negotiated, and he'll make the final call. But I got to say that it was really a heartening readout of what happened. That, as you know, that President Trump and President Xi are very close.
So, Hassett is painting a very positive picture. He's talking about a heartening readout of the China talks and a developing positive working relationship between the negotiators. The emphasis here isn't just on the numbers, but on the personal relationships, a key part of the Trump administration's approach to diplomacy. But what about the specifics? What has the administration actually accomplished? Hassett points to two major deals that he says are the biggest trade deals in American history.
That we've had the biggest trade deals in American history. We had Japan open up their market to our products, give us more than $500 billion and accept a 50% tariff. And Europe, our largest trading partner, just basically did the same. And so we've got more than $1 trillion of commitments of investment into the U.S. while they're accepting the fact that we have tariffs. Now, I know there's some European countries that are grumbling about that, but the fact is that they gave the authority to negotiate this deal to the EU.
Now, that's a powerful statement. Hassett is claiming massive wins. Japan opening its market and $1 trillion in commitments from Japan and Europe. But this is where the economics and the politics get a little more complicated. On one hand, the administration can point to these headline numbers as proof that their aggressive tariff-based strategy works. The threat of higher tariffs, according to this view, forces other countries to the table to make concessions they wouldn't have otherwise. However, critics of this approach are quick to point out the nuance. The details of these deals aren't always what they seem. For instance, the commitments to invest can be more like projections of future activity rather than legally binding agreements. The deals with Japan and Europe, while celebrated, still involve tariffs that raise costs for American consumers and businesses. Some analysts have pointed out that while the agreements might avoid a full-blown trade war, they also solidify a new, higher tariff environment, which runs counter to decades of free trade policy. It's a classic case of political spin versus economic reality. Is it a huge win to force an ally to accept a tariff, even if it's lower than what was threatened? Or is it simply a political victory that comes with a real economic cost? And that brings us back to China. Hassett's comments suggest that the U.S.-China negotiations are heading in a positive direction, but with the caveat that President Trump, he's going to find things to improve. This signals that while there may be an agreement on the horizon, it will be a difficult and drawn-out process, and not necessarily the end of the trade tensions. Ultimately, the success of Trump's trade policy depends on who you ask and how you measure success. If you define it by securing headline-grabbing commitments and demonstrating a willingness to use tariffs as a negotiating tool, then Hassett's claims hold up. But if you measure success by a return to open, tariff-free global markets and predictable trade relationships, then the picture is a lot less clear. We'll be keeping a close eye on the final decision from the White House regarding the China negotiations. What do you think? Are these deals a win for the U.S. economy or a political victory with hidden costs? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the economy and politics. See you next time.